Welcome everybody to your third live Q&A session for the relationship selling training. I am Nikki Rausch and I'm very excited for our final call together for this month. So looking forward to seeing what questions everybody brought today. And we are just at 5 o'clock, so I know people are probably getting off of work or kind of finishing up whatever they have to do to jump on this call. So we will see who joins and open it up at any point with questions. So let's see. We've got Marnell. We have Kim. It looks like Michelle is here with us. And a few people calling in, or at least one person calling in. Welcome. Anybody ready to open it up with a question? You have a burning sales-related question?
I do.
Jump in.
So I watched, I'm getting some feedback, so if I hesitate here a little bit.
Give me just a second here and I'll mute everybody. Oh, there we go. Go ahead, Marno. Oh, we're still getting feedback.
Yeah.
Huh. Let me see. Try it now.
So that's better. Not hearing any feedback. Great.
So I just want to say I muted whoever's last four digits are 9147. So I think you should be able to unmute yourself, but if not, I will check in with you and unmute you too. Go ahead, Marno. Go ahead. Hi, PJ.
I listened to your Building Your Network video this week. It was excellent. Loved it.
Thank you.
One of the things that you encouraged us to do is to, when you're speaking with somebody, use the phrase, as a trusted connection, is it okay if I ask you a favor? One of the areas of my focus in 2018 is to build my business, blah, blah, blah. So you said you're so well connected with this person. And in many cases, we're not necessarily we don't know who we're not connected with yet. They may have friends that they're connected with. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, so we might need to tweak the language a little.
Yeah, so I was going to say, if you could help us just with the language there of what we're trying to get to is their network of people that love and trust them and so on.
Yeah.
And so, you know what I mean?
So in that particular case, one of the ways that I would just change up the language just a bit is to say, you're so well connected, you have such a developed network of people, friends, family, colleagues who really trust you. And I'm wondering, is it okay to ask, who do you know that would benefit from what we have to offer? So would benefit from the essential oils, or you can insert whatever context, but who do you know that would benefit from this? And this is really important. And would you be willing to make an introduction? Because when they make the introduction for you, it has like 5,000 times more credibility and weight than if you just reach out to that person on your own. Now, if they don't feel comfortable making the introduction, but they will give you the person's name and contact information, then yes, please go ahead and connect with them. And in that case, you would start off the connection to say, we have a mutual friend in common. Shelly had recommended that I reach out to you and thought that you might benefit in some way from this particular offering. Wanted to see if you'd be interested in just setting up a quick time to chat. Could we hop on the phone for 5 or 10 minutes? Now, so Shelly is the person I'm using as the example here. If Shelly carries a lot of credibility with that person, so for instance, if Shelly was a close personal friend of mine or a trusted colleague, and she recommended that you contact me, you better believe I'm going to jump on the phone with you, because there's some reason that Shelly made that connection. And I may not even know yet why, but I would pick up the phone or I would respond to that email. And I think your other people will too. So don't be afraid to name drop. That's what I call this. Don't be afraid to name drop. However, use name dropping when you have someone in common. I'm not a big fan of dropping names that are like who you think are a big name in a particular industry or well known. sometimes I share the story that I had somebody reach out to me one time, and he was trying to prove his legitimacy by name dropping. And he dropped like 5 names. I didn't know who any of those people were.
I hate
that. I
was
like, I don't know who those people are. And so part of me starts to go like, am I just totally missing the boat here? Like, how come I don't know any of these people? So I start to question myself. But he is so committed to this particular technique that he just keeps doing it. He just keeps dropping name after name. And finally, I just said, I don't know if you know what I actually do for a living, but I'm a sales coach. And I understand that you're doing this name dropping. And I just want you to know it's not working. Try something else. He was too committed to it, though. He just kept going. He dropped a couple more names, and I just ended up getting off the phone with him. I was like,
oh my goodness.
I can't help people who don't want to be helped.
No. Okay, good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're
That's
welcome.
very helpful. That's very helpful.
Good. All right. Who else has a question? I almost said this morning. It's been a long day. I already feel like it's the next day. Who has another question tonight for me? Any and all questions are welcome. I am going to unmute the person I muted on the phone just in case. So that's 9147, last 4 digits. I'm going to unmute you just in case you have a question. Maybe you muted yourself. Or you don't want to speak. Either way is fine.
Hi, Nikki. This is Michelle.
Hi, Michelle.
I don't have the volume on my computer, so.
Okay. We're getting some feedback when you talk, but. Michelle, did you have a question, or are you just saying hi?
Well, I do have a question.
Okay.
Some of us have learned what's called the aroma touch technique. I don't know if you've heard that.
Did you say Roma?
Aroma.
Aroma?
Yeah, aroma touch technique. It's like where we do massages, either hand massage or body massage.
Yeah.
With the oils. And I guess what I'm asking is, what is your opinion about using that technique as a way of getting more clients?
So just to understand, is it that you're offering to do some type of a aroma touch technique that is going to benefit somebody in some way, and you're using oils to demonstrate the power of the oil?
Correct.
Okay. So I love anything that allows for people to kind of try something out. So if you and I were to meet at an event and there's some reason why you would instigate offering me the aroma touch technique, so one of the things that I offer to people who want to get a sense of the oils and also the power of them is we do this aroma touch technique. And it takes about, and I'm going to say how much time it takes. And is that something you'd like to try? We can actually do it right now, right here, if that's true. If you can do it right now, right here, and then now, what's really important here though is that you're pre-framing for the person what's going to happen, about how long it's going to take, and what oil you're using, and the benefits of this oil. And then you do the aroma touch technique, and then at the end, you're going to say, now, how was that for you? And is this something you might like to have this oil so you can take this home and do this yourself? Or you have to make sure you issue the invitation to the next step, whatever that makes sense for them. Michelle, make sure you issue that invitation.
Okay. Yeah, thanks.
You're welcome.
Nikki, this is PJ.
Hi.
Hi. Maybe we can ask Michelle to mute her phone, or you can mute it so we don't get the feedback again. But
hold on just 1 second. Michelle, can you mute your own phone? I hate to mute you because then I don't know if you have a question, but if you can just mute your phone.
Yeah, figure that out.
If not, I can mute you. I just don't want to not be able to.
Oh, it looks like she left.
Oh.
Oh,
Oops.
it's too bad.
Okay. Go ahead, PJ.
Well, and hopefully she'll come back on or she'll get the recording. So one of the suggestions I have with that, and you can maybe you can clarify this too if it needs some, but so the aroma touch technique is a 45-minute around technique. It's something that you would, you usually do for friends or family. And
Okay.
unless you're a licensed person to touch, like a massage therapist, you can't offer to have somebody pay you for it. But what we do have is kind of like, we have something called the aroma touch hand technique. So what I tell people is, I use the aroma touch technique, again, because you usually only do it for friends or family or someone you know.
Mm-hmm.
I might offer it for somebody who has then enrolled and they've placed a loyalty reward. It's as a thank you for being a continued customer or something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't personally think it's a good idea to use it as a technique to expose someone to the oils, unless they're a personal friend, and then it's different, right?
Okay. I was
Right.
thinking it was like a 5-minute, 10-minute something.
Yeah, where the hand technique is a 5-minute technique, and you can expose someone to the oil. Again, you'd want it to be someone you know, again, because you don't necessarily have a license to touch.
Okay.
So I'm a little cautious to just like walk into anywhere and just offer it to anybody because I don't have that license. Now, if you had some sort of license to touch, you could do that. But in the same vein, I would offer it to a friend or somebody I might met in a networking group, and I felt like I knew them well enough to say, hey, would you like to, hey, you look a little stressed today, or you look like you could use a little support. Can I offer you an aroma touch hand technique? It takes about 5 minutes, and then that's a good exposure to an oil.
Mm-hmm.
But personally, I think the aroma touch technique itself should be reserved more as a thank you gift or an incentive for someone who continues as a customer or does what we call the loyalty reward order, which is our subscription order every month.
Yeah.
They do that for a month or two. So I don't know what your feelings are, but that's kind of how I see that based on what those two techniques are.
Okay. So thank you for clarifying. And I agree 100% with you that somebody who is a friend or family that you have that deep connection with, so that touch is very powerful, and you want to be careful too that you're not triggering anything for anybody, and that you've got some good rapport with them. So I agree, and I like the idea of using it as incentive or as a thank you. For the only hesitation I have with using it as a thank you, and this is so minor and it may not even matter, is it does require your time. And I love the idea of having a thank you that doesn't require any time or money out of your pocket. So I don't know if there are other, and maybe you have some suggestions, PJ, for the group, if there are any other ways to thank your loyal customers that doesn't require you having to give up 45 minutes of your time. Right.
Well, so some of the things I do to thank my customers that don't require a lot of my time or requires very little money is thank you notes are incredible. A handwritten thank you note, we just don't get those anymore.
It's true.
And yet, if it has a lot of thought in it, and the fact that somebody just takes time to write you a thank you note says a lot.
Yeah.
So that's sometimes the simplest, easiest. And there are things that we can purchase, like from some of our supply stores, like Aroma Tools, where I get a packet of like 25 reference cards for minimal few dollars. And I'll stick that in the envelope with the card sometimes. Just saying, hey, I thought you might enjoy this. And then I also write the hand thank you note, thank you for, your support and ordering over the last few months or whatever. Those are some things. Or sometimes just if they are good friends and they're local, just giving them a little bit of your time. Okay, if you haven't seen them in a long time, just say, hey, you want to meet for, tea, coffee, whatever, is an invaluable thing.
Yes, I agree. The personal connections for the people who are loyal customers that are ongoing, and it makes sense to give your time to those people.
The other thing I thought of was that I did, and I just did this today. I did this for somebody who enrolled with me. They bought about 3 different products. I took time to email them. I did the typical, oh, thank you for enrolling. But this week, which is a week later, I emailed them and I just again thanked them. And I said, wanted to make sure your package has arrived. And I know you ordered these 3 products. And so I've attached product information pages on each one of these products so that you can reference those for more ideas for uses than what we talked about. So that only required a little bit of my time to make a personal touch with this person.
Mm-hmm.
And also, to me, it was my way of saying to them, I paid attention to what you ordered.
Yes.
And I'm trying to give you a little added thank you here. And so those, I think, go a long ways. And those don't cost me any money.
I love that. I think that is a huge value to somebody that's receiving that. And there is something about what for everybody on the call, one of the things that PJ's doing here is she is really sending this message, I see you. Because when she sends the thing about what they've ordered and references how these sheets are going to be handy for them based on the order, sometimes when you place an order with somebody, it's like, do they even know that I placed the order? Do they even care that I placed the order? And so you kind of feel, lonely, frankly. Maybe that's not the right word, but you kind of wonder, does the person care? Do they notice? So the fact that PJ is putting this out there and referencing this and supplying something that's in addition to, that is such a great, I see you moment. And those are great, deep relationship building activities. So I love that one. That's my favorite so far.
Good. Well, thank you.
So thanks for sharing it. So for you guys, if you are on the call, and for those listening to the recording, if that's not something you're doing with your clients, maybe implement this and see what happens as you start to do that. The other thing, and I just worked with a client the other day who is in a direct sales, totally different company. One of the things that she had some awareness around was she was spending a lot of time helping people reorder things they had already ordered. And she was missing this opportunity to suggest other products based on their order. Because sometimes we kind of get in a rut, or we know 1 or 2 or maybe 3 products. We're not really sure how we would use a 4th or a 5th. Don't be afraid to suggest that from this place of being really helpful to the other person. I know you've been ordering these 3 products, and I don't know if you've ever considered this other product here, but they work really well together, or this is another way for you to use, or here are some ways that you use it. Never be afraid to suggest some other products for people too. And maybe you have some training around that, PJ, for your team, or maybe you guys talk about that a lot, but I just wanted to comment on it just in case. All right. Any other questions, comments tonight?
I have one.
Oh, go ahead, Margie.
Hi, Margie.
I muted myself earlier because I was eating. Anyway.
I get it.
So my question is, how would I transition a conversation? Because some people that I'm working with are my coworkers, and it could be very serious work. For example, I'm working with a police officer right now in our school.
Mm-hmm.
But I have trouble transitioning from our work to saying, hey, what about that order we're going to put in? Or she wants to, but it's so difficult for me to, and I try not to talk about it at work, but we've already established that she wants to place an order. But even today, I just couldn't make myself transition that conversation.
Okay, so these are those moments where I think we get caught up in our own, like, I don't want to be pushy, and I don't want to be this, and I don't want to be that. And yet, if she's already indicated that she wants to place that order, it really is your job to help make that happen for her. Like, you have to take the lead in this moment. You have to be the leader, essentially. And so we'll see if you like this, and if not, I'll come up with a different suggestion. But you might just say, you've been on my mind. You guys, I think I said this on the last call, like, you've been on my mind. And one of the things that we haven't done yet was get that order placed for you. What can I do to help make that happen?
Yeah.
So you come from this place of like, how can I help you get this done? Because you want it and I want to help you. And it isn't about you making your numbers or any of that. It's really about helping her get something she wants and that's going to benefit her in some way. So
right.
And
it's actually for her mom too. So it is important. It's actually for her mom.
Okay.
She needs the oils for her mom, but it's just difficult for me to transition at work when we're talking about serious things.
Yeah.
And or maybe could I say, like, hey, about that order you want to place, can I call you after work? Or is that okay? I mean, does that sound?
Yeah. The other thing too, so I'm going to give you a couple more suggestions. We'll see if you like either of these two. One thing is if you just say, I've been meaning to ask you, how is your mom? How's your mom doing? Right? Okay. And then that opens that door for the next logical thing to be, we haven't got those oils ordered for her yet. Is that something I can help you with? Or would you like to do that? What's the best way for us to do that? Do you want to set up a time to chat after work? The other thing too is in a conversation, even when it's a serious conversation, now of course you have to kind of feel your way through this, because without specifics about what the conversation is, I'm not sure if this is appropriate or not. But sometimes it's even okay to say to somebody, so I'm wanting to ask you about something else, but I don't know if this is the right time. So I'm just going to let you know that I do want to ask you about something, but I want to do it at a time that feels right for you. So please let me know when you feel like that time is right. Because then now it's back on her to go, oh no, go ahead. Or for her to say, thank you so much for being respectful of what's going on right now. This isn't a good time, but I'm going to circle back with you later. Right?
Okay. Or could I say something like, we've been so busy. So sorry I haven't gotten back to the topic of your mom and making her order.
Yeah, we've been so busy, and I just want to circle back. We had talked about your mom and getting that order placed. And, even when you come from this place of like, I just wanted to make sure that I didn't drop the ball here. And if I did, I want to apologize and I want to help get that order taken care of. Okay. Like sometimes we have to kind of take the responsibility on us of like, I think I might have not got this order in yet for you. And I'm so sorry. And how can I help make that happen now? I really want to get this taken care of for you. Like you take it on you.
Got it. Well, when you say it, it sounds so easy.
Well, some of it is being willing to just be authentic in these moments. And the most important thing, Margie, more than anything else, is being willing to get it out of your mouth. Because people will give you grace, even if you stumble a little bit, even if you kind of don't say it exactly right. It sounds like you already have quite a bit of rapport with this person. So she already appreciates you and respects you. And even if you don't say it perfectly, or even if you don't say it the way I say it, or the way somebody else would say it that you think sounds good, she already holds you in high regard. So she's going to give you grace.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And it's your job to get the words out.
Okay. Yeah, you're
okay.
Right. Yeah. Thank
So
you.
be willing. I'm cheering you on. I'll be in the background going like, you can do it. You can do it.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, Nikki,
Hi.
hi. I had an experience today, and I'm sorry I got late to the call. It's reflective of a lack of organization, and I was like going, well, how do I get there? How do I get there? Anyway, I apologize. So, I had a great experience. I went to, one of my moms is actually a provider herself. She's a naturopath.
Roxanne,
And
hold on for just 1 second. Is that background noise? Is that your background noise or is it somebody else's?
Let's see if I don't know how to change that.
No, I'm just wondering if you have background noise, and if not you, I'm going to see if I need to mute somebody else.
No, I do have background noise.
Okay. I'm just checking. For the sake of everybody on the call. Go ahead. Sorry.
Let me see if I could go someplace else, maybe.
It's okay. Go ahead.
Okay. So anyhow, I really wanted to go to her as a provider, but I was limited by my insurance. So I asked her, would you be willing to barter with essential oils? So I went and had the appointment, and out of the appointment, I'm going to get to go in and present to the whole office on the essential oils because she doesn't have an account, and she was, she's familiar with them. So it was just incredible to me that you could just go, I sincerely want to go and see her, but I want to make it possible for me. And I could do it with oil. So I got excited about that.
Congratulations. I come from my grandfather and my dad owned a tool store when I was a young girl and all growing up through my teen years. And they traded a lot. And really it was one of those ways, like sometimes it's actually how we ate. Like had they not been able to trade tools for food, we probably would have gone hungry. So I love that barter system. I will say be careful with the business side of it because it can sometimes overshadow you actually making money in your business. And as long as you're getting something of huge value, you're delivering something of good value and it feels really good to you, then congratulations. I'm a big fan of ask for what you want because so many times people will just say yes. So congratulations. I'm excited for you. All right. Who else has a question, comment? PJ, were you going to say something?
Yeah, I actually have a question for you.
Okay.
It's not for me, but it's for somebody on the team who has faced this issue.
Okay.
So and I'd love your ideas because I think everyone encounters this. She came on really excited and she started sharing with some family and friends and found out that another family member was also selling doTERRA. But this family member was one of those people who should visit Nikki because she was in their face, just all over their Facebook. And her family, when they found out she was doing it, was like, oh, you're not doing this too, are you? And her friends. And so now she's pulled back because as any of us would, we feel like, oh, I don't want to be my cousin. And I don't want to burn any bridges. What would you say to her as to how she can still approach some of these friends and family, and how can she go find some other places outside of that circle?
So I am sorry that happened to her, and I think many of the people on your team can probably relate in some way to that same story. So I love that you're bringing this up. So first, I would say one of the biggest focuses for her is about creating curiosity. So she needs to start engaging with these family members. And when they are asking her questions, she needs to have curiosity creating responses. So this is the here kitty kitty. So for instance, if she's hey, Auntie, I haven't seen you in a while and miss you and hope you're doing well. What's your big goal for 2018? Really engaging at an authentic level and creating dialogue And then when Auntie responds and says, well, what's up with you? What's up with your family? Blah, blah, blah. She might then put in some here kitty kitty statements. Like, for instance, oh, things are going really great. You know, we've found some significant pain relief, and that has been huge in our family. Or we found something that has really allowed for us to sleep better, and that's been fabulous. And so she's not actually even throwing in doTERRA, but yet she kind of is, because now if Auntie comes back and says, what'd you find that's helping you sleep, or what's helping with pain relief, or something that's specific, then she can go, oh, it's this amazing product, and it's from a company called doTERRA, and I am just having so much success with it, have clients that are having success with it. Is that something you've ever heard about? Like, now you got to check in and go, like, have you ever heard about it? And she's like, oh, your cousin, you know, Amy was selling it, and oh, it was just horrible. She was, you know, pushing it down my throat, blah, blah, blah. Now I want her to come back and go, oh my gosh, I am so, so sorry that happened to you. That's terrible. You know, one of the things that I make a priority when I work with clients is to ensure, first of all, that they have even an interest in hearing about it. And second, find out how they might use it so I can recommend the right things to them. And if you're ever open to hearing more, I'd love to share, but also I really respect that, you know, you've had this experience, and thank you for sharing it with me. Like, you really take the high road in this moment. So here, kitty kitty is going to be crucial for her. And especially if she starts sharing about her successes on social media, like, oh my gosh, it's so awesome that, you know, this just happened, or, oh, I love this, you know, I made these, you know, amazing mint chocolate brownies, and she's got a picture of them, and people are like, let me have the recipe. Then she's including in there that she's using doTERRA mint or whatever. Is that resonating a little bit, PJ?
Yeah, I think you hit it on. I think you've given some great ideas.
Okay. Now I have a second kind of follow-up to that, where you said, like, and how else can she go out and find, you know, additional places to grow her network? I'm a big fan of networking. I think it's a great way to build your business. And if you can find, you do have to find your tribe. I will say that. And maybe you don't like the word tribe, but you kind of have to find your people, the people that feel comfortable and right to you. I know PJ and I actually met through an event and a group that we both participate in, which is Business Among Moms. I love this group because it's full of introverts, and I'm an introvert. There's extroverts in there too, but so it's very low key for me. It's not aggressive and pushy and passing cards out like crazy. So it fits my style. And there are tons of other groups out there. So, and if networking isn't her thing, then she needs to find her thing, right? So if it's a meetup group, or if it's, I talked to one of you earlier today who was telling me, I wonder if it was Michelle. I can't remember if it was Michelle. Michelle, that you were telling me that you're involved in tennis and yoga. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that's a great opportunity for Michelle to get out there with her tennis buddies, with her yoga buddies, and, you know, starting to create some curiosity so that people ask her questions. So same with your person that you're asking the question on behalf of, PJ. She's got to get out into the community. So whether it's book club or yoga or tennis, or, you know, the like friends that she's met through whatever organization, or her high school friends, you know, inviting them to get together and have a sit down or something. But you have to get in front of more people, because sitting in your home and putting stuff on social media is not going to build a business. I mean, for very few people does that work.
Well, that's exactly what I told her. So thank you for just back. And I've told other people today, actually. I told 2 other people that very same thing. So thank you for backing that up. And I am a huge fan of networking. I've built I've enrolled lots of people from various networking groups I participate in. And the other cool thing is I have met amazing people who literally, not only whether they join my business or not, but I learn from them about business.
Yeah. I first learned about doTERRA through a networking group. I don't know that I would have ever been exposed to it otherwise. But it was through a networking group. Somebody in the group was talking about essential oils. I was like, I don't even know what that means. Like, I had no idea. So it was this idea of kind of getting to know this woman and her building some know, like, and trust factor with me that made me go, oh, so interesting. I'm interested to know a little bit more about this. Right? So you got to kind of get out there and build always relationship first. Like, that's the kind of the crux of what I teach is relationship has to come first. And that can be done through a lot of different avenues. But we have to really have those like belly to belly conversations or Zoom face to face type conversations. Just posting on social media is just, it's not going to do it. And it's so lost because everybody's doing it.
I have a comment about that. Can I?
Yeah, please.
So when I first started doing doTERRA and I went home to Texas, I mentioned to my sister, and I was new. I know nothing about sales or networking. And I said, hey, do you want me to do a class for maybe your church friends? And my sister was like, oh, no, or your family, your in-laws. And, oh, no, I don't want to bother them with this kind of stuff, selling. And I just accepted it. And just a couple weeks ago, she says, oh, guess what? My daughter-in-law is selling doTERRA. And I'm like, so what could I have done differently besides just accepting it?
So you have to kind of understand, first of all, like when she's like, well, I don't want to bother them, you have to tread lightly here, right, with your sister. But you might have said like, well, what part of inviting people to a fun event feels like a bother? And if it was just an opportunity for them to learn about something new, but also kind of just gather and create community, do you think they would enjoy that? Like you have to touch and be willing to try to overcome that objection. Like she's pushing back and you don't want to push back hard, but you do want to have to kind of understand like, what's the real objection here? And the real objection there's a million things it could be, but it may be that, she had a bad experience with somebody one time before, or she, doesn't want to have people in her home. Like there's a lot of reasons, but you can kind of overcome all of that a little bit if you really understand what the real objection is, which, by the way, the next training is uncovering and overcoming objections. So that's coming next week. But be willing, Margie, to check it out with her and find out like, well, what specifically is causing some hesitation? And you have to tread lightly when you ask that question. So you might even say like, is it okay to ask like what specifically is causing the hesitation around wanting to do it? When you see how I soften my voice a little bit, I even change like the angle of my like body a little bit. I get a little smaller because I don't want it to come across aggressive. Like, are you kidding me? Of course you want to do, that's too much. So you have to change.
So I'm not trying to convince her. I'm just investigating, digging a little deeper.
Yeah, okay. Be willing to dig a little deeper if she's willing to go there with you, because it may be something that you can pretty easily overcome. Yeah.
And I've also, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Well, I also have a friend that I asked, if she'd like to have a party, and then I'd present, and she basically said, I don't have any friends, so everybody has friends. So I didn't know what to respond back to that one.
Yeah. So sometimes you have to, this is where, I'm not sure if I've talked about this on this call yet, where you give people a menu. Have I talked about this? So there's this idea, sometimes you have to help people start to come up with ideas in their own brain. And the way to do it is to suggest a few things. So the example I like to share is if you go into a sandwich shop and you've never been to that particular sandwich shop before, and they don't have like a board above the kind of the station where they make the sandwiches that says like, here's our breads, here's our cheeses, here's our meats and toppings and all that. A lot of times we'll walk up and we'll go like, what kind of bread do you have? Well, because there's no board to look at. And so the person behind the counter can't say like, lady, we're a sandwich shop. What kind of bread do you think we have? Like all bread, you know, we all have the same kind of bread. So instead, when you walk into a brand new sandwich shop, it's so nice to just have this menu. And it's not that and the person behind the counter, by the way, could care less what kind of bread you choose. They just want you to make a choice so they can make a sandwich. So sometimes you want to give a menu to somebody to help them make some connection or choice. So when somebody's like, I don't have any friends, and you're like, what about the people you work with? Or are you involved in any organizations or book club? Or so I'm just kind of giving some ideas. And frankly, I don't care if she's involved in the church or a book club or any. I'm just trying to help her come up with some ideas of like, oh, well, I do have this group of girlfriends of mine that we get together from high school from time to time. Great. Now she's come up with her answer. Her answer has way more influence than the answer you could give her. But so you have to be willing to kind of give a menu, check it out for her. And if she's still like, I really don't have any friends, like, are you on Facebook? Like, you have any people there that you want to build community with and get together and have a glass of wine or get together and celebrate something? Or, you know, you just check it out.
Yeah, I like that. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Use a menu next time.
Menu. People love a menu. And their brains love to make sense of stuff because it's a way for her to go, no. Oh, I have this.
Right. Okay. I like it. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Who else has a question, comment?
I have a question about promoting something that you put together, an event that might. Yeah. What are the most efficient ways of promoting it?
So you always want to use your list first, because the people who are on your list who've agreed to receive emails from you or want to hear from you on a regular basis, that's who you want to promote to first. If you don't have a list, anybody on this call that's like, I don't have a list yet, start one tonight or tomorrow. You will thank me in 5 years for starting your list today. And I don't even care if you have 5 people on there to start or 1 person on there to start. You're still starting somewhere, so build your list. And certainly promote it out onto the social media channels because there's, you know, some opportunity for it to be seen. I think it's always useful to get some ambassadors on your side. So people who know you and love you and will happily promote your event. It never hurts to message them individually and privately, by the way. Do not send a blast, you know, Facebook message to 30, 40, 100 people and say, hey, will you promote my event? That's super bad etiquette and a terrible way to build rapport. So it really is a rapport diminisher. So send a really nice, kind message and say, you know, hey, Sarah, this event's going on. I think this, you know, and I'm wondering if you'd be willing to share this with the important people in your life who you think would benefit from it. Here's the link or here's the flyer. Would love to have you there. You're invited. Please bring anybody else you know would benefit from it. So create some ambassadors out in the marketplace who are willing to share, whether it's on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, any of those social media channels, or frankly, just through their email. So on your list, when you send out the email to the people on the list, make sure you include in there, like, you know, please consider forwarding this to your friends and family who you know would benefit from this event. All are welcome. Like just even giving that little suggestion of like, hey, do this, you increase your chances of them actually forwarding it on versus just thinking like, well, if they want to forward it on, they will. No, you have to actually give kind of what's known as an embedded command in there. All right, so in the last minute or so, anybody have a last question, comment?
Just quickly, we have a campaign on right now called the Activation Campaign, where we're trying to get people who haven't ordered for a while to place an order, and they get free oils and so on. So just trying to come up with a kitty comment, because I sent out emails to a bunch of these people, but I think it's a little confusing. So I'm trying to just be real simple about it.
Yeah, the more simple and more specific you can be in the request of what you want them to do. So when you're sending emails, there's a couple things in email. You guys already know about removing all of most of your I statements.
Oh, yeah.
The other thing is people scan emails, so you want to leave lots of white space. You want to use bold bullet points. Make it really easy for them to just scan down the message and really clear what it is that you want them to do. And you're going to increase your chance of getting a response that way.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So Nikki,
yeah.
Since this is our last Q&A call, I have to thank you on behalf of everyone who's benefited as to how much these calls have been great to just have open opportunities to ask questions. So thank you again, and appreciate that.
Thank you so much, PJ, for allowing me this opportunity to engage with your team. And, I have to say, I'm such a huge fan of yours and the way that you really stepped up to, provide this training for your team, I think is huge and so above and beyond. I hope your team really got something useful out of this, even if it was just one nugget that's going to help you in your business. That's my hope and prayer here, is that everybody take away at least one thing. And thank you so much for this opportunity. There's still more to come inside the training throughout the next couple weeks. So, the rest of this week and next. And I'm going to leave those trainings live for 2 weeks after the end of the month. So if you want to go back and rewatch something or re-listen, I encourage you to do that, because you may just find that when you watch those videos a second time or even a third time, like, I don't think Nikki said that before, because you weren't ready to hear it in that moment. And so you might be more ready to hear, or you might hear it in a different way that makes you think of a new thing. So I encourage you guys to go back and watch that content before it's removed from the group. And then, of course, for anybody who that you want more, there's plenty of opportunities. And I know I've been having conversations with some of you about ways that you can take advantage of additional trainings, stuff outside of the group, and I'd be happy to have a conversation with anybody about that. So thank you so much for having me. Have a good rest of your night, everybody, and I'll see you inside the Facebook group, if not on a call with you sometime in the near future.
Thank you, Nikki. I got a lot of nuggets.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Bye, everybody.